We finally had our Game of Thrones itch scratched with the prequel Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and it's over already. I got my boy Flyknit with me. We're going to discuss this finale that just came out today, and we're going to give our overall thoughts on the show. This is Minor League Films.
Deserted! The noble houses of Westeros!
Now, Flyknit, this finale, would you say this is a little dry, or you think it ended just right?
No, I mean, I've obviously we're jumping in the end of the series here, but yeah, no, I've liked this entire series, and this finale I thought was a good wrap up to what we've had, which has more been a comedy, and then we've thrown some action in. We've kind of got some drama here to kind of circle out pretty much all the genres in the show. So I thought it was a good wrap up leading to the future. It sucks. It's only 6 episodes. I'm like six. Like I want more. I'm really loving this series, but all the things is kind of setting up here and just doing some research on the background. It seems like we're going to get a lot of seasons of this show. And I'm not talking about just 2, 3, or 4. Like they have like 10 seasons planned out, kind of just filling that gap between now and obviously Game of Thrones. So yeah, I'm happy with it. Now I'm hoping now you only gave us 6. You better be not waiting 2, 3 years to come out with another one. But I will say, for as far as the finale for this one, I love the wrap up. I love the drama here and kind of the hope going forward that they set up.
Yeah, and I was asking that question because I saw a couple of people online just saying it was a little dry. They expected more to happen. Not sure what more they expected to happen. I mean, just a little synopsis. I mean, we got Duncan the Tall, who was just finished burying his master, Sir Arlen, who was not a well-known knight, but he was a valiant knight, if you could say so myself. And then he meets this guy named Egg. It's an extremely bald kid at a tavern while he's on the way to a tournament, a night tournament. And this kid ends up being Aegon Targaryen, one of the better Targaryen kings before the Game of Thrones show would have started. And you meet a whole bunch of cool characters. My favorite character in the show got to be Lionel. I think his name is Lionel Baratheon. That's my favorite guy. He just tells it like it is. He's like, hey, man, I'm drunk. I'm talking a whole bunch of trash. It doesn't matter. But I like that when Sir Duncan, first of all, he shows how noble he is like every episode. He doesn't try to screw anybody over. He's not trying to do anything bad. He's trying to do the right thing, like the little definition of a knight. Every time something happens within this story, and it's he can do something, I guess, not noble. He's like, nah, I'm a knight, can't do all that. So I like the character a lot. It reminds me of like a Superman without the powers.
Yeah.
And his dynamic with Egg, the nice little buddy cop thing, because Egg just wants to be a squire. I like that dynamic a lot. And I like seeing the Targaryens, and each Targaryen has a different personality. I like seeing that too. Like I didn't have a single issue with anything in this show, and I do think the finale ended perfectly. Like it had emotion to it. It was shot really well, and I like them two together. I hope we get at least 2 more seasons with just them two, and they can add in more main characters, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we're gonna follow them well for a while, and obviously episode 6. I mean, you're not gonna really top episode 5 here. I think episode 5 was maybe I think it was like the highest rated show like in television like history as far as like just a one episode. They got like a perfect IMDb rating, which if you don't follow IMDb, they are very critical. Some we'll be like, oh, that was perfect, 7 out of 10. Like they are very critical of their show, so to rank that high, you're not really gonna top that. But I thought like after leading up the action is kind of like where are these characters going and where they're going to go next. And I think wrapping that up, like there's some stuff here. Obviously, we start with Dunk under the tree, kind of reminiscent about what just happened and losing Baylor, who stood for him. And I love that moment. Like you said, Lionel is a great character. Was it Lionel the Laughter, or is that his name? He's just about having a good time. But I love those moments between those two where he's like, hey, like, come with me. And then Dunk is like, I'm still torn about Baylor dying. And he's like, he really risked nothing for you. Like he fought against people who really weren't gonna kill him. Like he was like, look, I stood for you. And just think about it more deeply, like Lionel had his glory kind of taken because Baylor showed up and decided to fight for him because he was the big name that said, I backed you from the start. Like I didn't know he was coming. And like I was the big name that put my life out there against this duel of 7. And because he showed up, now he gets all the attention. And he died basically risking nothing. And if his brother wouldn't have killed him in the back of the head, he wouldn't have died at all because he really had no risk. So I love how, and obviously there's that beef between the Baratheons and the Targaryens. We know that'll go and well into Game of Thrones and forward from there. So, you kind of see like that starting up, but I think we'll get moments in the future where they'll fight. I mean, I know Dunk and Lionel in the future will fight at some point, because I think the Target is supposed to marry Lionel's daughter and doesn't. So they have a duel coming in the future where they kind of hint to. But that was like such a great moment and like such a comedic character, and it's been fun this whole time. And he delivers some drama, and it's like, oh well, damn, like he's got a point here.
Man, and I had in this show I liked every single character in this show. Like Game of Thrones, I like a few characters, out of all of them, maybe 3 or 4. In this show, I like every single character. I even like the Targaryen guy that's just a jerk for no reason. Like when he was beating the girl down, talking about, oh, you disrespected the dragon, so you got to go. Like, sir, it's a puppet show. It is a puppet show. Just relax. And I like how Baylor was cool. Baylor became one of my favorite characters as soon as he started talking. He's like, you know what? My brother's a jerk. I'll fight for you. I didn't expect him to hit him in the back of the head. And when he took the helmet off, I did not expect him to be bleeding profusely with like no back of head.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to die, but I mean, it's been talked about through. I mean, they even mentioned it in Game of Thrones, and people probably knew about it. I had no clue. I didn't know the history. So when he died, I was like, oh snap! Like I did not see that coming necessarily. But yeah, as far as the way to go out, that did not necessarily look pleasant there in the back of the head. But yeah, just the stuff with Baylor, I had a lot of respect for him. He was a really cool character, and obviously Dunk had the alliance with him because he approved him to actually be fight in the tournament and kind of start his reign of glory as it goes. So I see why he has loyalty to him, but it's like I feel like in this show, like everybody like resents a little bit of Dunk, but likes him as well. So everybody kind of has appreciation for him, even if they really don't like him that much.
Yeah, matter of fact, instead of Baylor dying, I know they changed a couple things in the book, so I thought maybe they could change it and he wouldn't die just yet. Like a couple changes they had, like in the book, Aegon's father actually originally told Aegon that he could be Duncan's squire. It wasn't like in the show where he's going back and forth and doesn't want his son to move at all.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited to see where this pairing goes with them too, because I know that Aegon ends up becoming an actually decent king, unlike the rest of the Targaryens. So that's going to be cool. But even the potting boy, like I didn't think Baylor was going to die. I thought the kid that had like the cousin that was a real big jerk for no reason also. Oh, I thought he was going to be gone in the first little strike they had in the jousting thing.
Yeah, because he's never up for it. And I love that. I wish you hopped on for episode 5, but I just love that reality of he's been chasing this glory that he gets thrown right in with probably the best fighters who are there. It just gets rocked the entire time. And if he wasn't lucky / like so big and strong, he would definitely be cooked and dead. And also, I love to at the beginning of the show where they kind of said the fact that he should be dead. Like he shouldn't have survived this event. Even the maester is like, you shouldn't be alive, buddy. And it kind of spins that kind of storyline of like, what makes him special? Like, why did Baylor die and why is he still alive to kind of carry the survival's guilt? Because there's a lot of PTSD and a lot of survival's guilt through this episode. And that's what it's about. And that's why everybody's like, it's a little dry. It's like, well, you just had a crazy event. You've never really been in a fight before that we've seen on here other than training with Arlen. And like you get your first fight against the best knights pretty much around in the area and you survive. And it's like, well, one of the best fighters out here just died. Like, why am I still alive? And it kind of leads to that purpose. And I think we'll talk about it a little later, but with the brother where he's talking about, I've seen with visions and obviously a greater purpose with him and Egg going forward. So I think that theme of the episode is kind of really strong here and that people be like, it's a little dry, but it's like, I think they do a really good job of PTSD and survivor's guilt in leading him to actually join Egg on their journey. Because if he doesn't have that, logically, he probably doesn't take Egg and just like, I'm out of here, I'm going home.
Yeah, and I think it was a proper send-off. Like they're obviously not going anywhere, but I thought it was a proper send-off so they can go on their next adventure and they don't really know where they're going. I thought it was a nice couple lines with Egg still being able to teach him. And even though Doug's a nice guy, he's still kind of like, trying to teach his squire, discipline and order and whatnot. I didn't expect Aegon to have lied to his dad about going. I thought it was going to go a little more with the book and he's going to say, yeah, my dad just said I can go on. So that's going to cause some conflict. I like that little setup. I like that they gave Baylor a proper setup because like the last episode, it showed how strong he was. He was missing half of the back of his head. And he's like, oh, man, my helmet is really tight. This doesn't feel good. And I was like, oh, man. Yeah. And so they gave a nice proper send-off with a funeral. And even after the funeral, throughout the episode, you see Sir Duncan, like you said, with the survivor's guilt, constantly being reminded that everybody around him ends up dead. Like his first love, Wraith, when they were living in the slums. I thought I've seen the slums in Baltimore. They were living in like the basement of a basement, but a crawl space that was smaller than a crawl space. I was like, good lord.
Yeah, yeah, I love that little backstory there. But like you said, with Baylor dying, I actually love how they deal with the Targaryens in here. Obviously, we have Maker who killed him. He definitely is gonna be. I mean, it's been talked about, but he's gonna feel the guilt for that forever. And you get a lot of that was episode. But also, I wrote down this line with Baylor's son, Baylor, who said like kids die in their father's armor. Obviously, his legacy goes down. They pass down their armor. You fight those, and you might die in a war or something. But he's like, how many fathers die in their kids' armor? So now that he borrowed his armor to go fight, and now he has to live with that. I also love the little white streak in his hair that I think is a reference to the book as well in the back. But Baylor seems like one of the good Targaryens for the most part. He's like one of the cool ones where it's like you don't want to see, and ever since you got Arian was like one of the crazy ones, and I was his cousin Baylor was one of the more chill ones. And you don't want to see him go down the path of going crazy, which we'll talk about Egg in a little bit here. But like he's one of the ones who's like chill. But now with his father dying here, obviously now he's stuck with the other ones, and like the best one, I guess, outside the king is gone, and now I wonder how that'll change his trajectory going forward into the series.
Yeah, I mean he's going to end up being crazy too. I'm sure. I think who was the Mad King? The Mad King is um
He's down the line, but I
he's the
think
younger one, right?
it's Aries or I knew the name. I looked it up a second ago. I forget, but it's Egg's grandson.
Okay, yeah, I'm about to say because Egg becomes a pretty good king, and him and Duncan remain friends. I think they end up dying in a fire later on in the book together. So they're together for quite a while. I can't wait to see that. Egg, I've watched some interviews with the kid that plays Egg, and
Yeah,
he like I can't tell the difference between this character and him in the interviews. Like he's an incredible actor. Dexter Soul Ansel,
yeah.
incredible actor. And he said he doesn't like to curse, but I thought it was funny because the character cusses like every 5 seconds.
which I'm sure it's fun for him.
Mhm.
But yeah, really cool character. Honestly, for me, when he was a Targaryen, it was kind of shocking. I was like, I did not see that coming. I was like, what? Like you're who? So I love that. I kind of waited so I could binge it to kind of figure out because that would have been a crazy ending to an episode. I got to wait a week to see what happens. But yeah, no, I've really liked this character throughout this series, and you can kind of tell like him, and I think they do the moment great. Obviously, first it's what's the other brother's name, and I have it written down somewhere. But the
Which
one who was the drinker, I forget, the one who has visions.
the Targaryen that has visions?
Yeah, is it Darren, the one that has visions? The other brother, the one that was like, I'll take the hit and fall when we have the battle because I lied.
I can't remember whether it was Darian or Daenerys or
Yeah, it's
something like
Darn.
that.
Yeah, so when obviously when he talks about that Aryan wasn't always crazy, like he wasn't always some psychopath that he is now. The fact that
Mhm,
he grew up in that house and like hung out and was around them, and they raised him without him able to touch grass, like made him that way. And the fact that
mhm,
like Egg is like he's trying to get away from that, he's trying to do something different, and like the fact that he convinces Dunk that he's like, look, he doesn't have to be the same way as the others, but if he sticks around, that's what he's going to be. And they kind of show that in the episode a little bit where he thinks Dunk is going to leave him. He's stuck with them, which he doesn't want to. And he goes so far to like he's going to kill Arian because
mhm,
he resents him so much. I love that too. You can see the white hair kind of growing out of his hair, out of his
mhm.
head. But the fact that you can start to see like him going crazy, which is the tag of the Targaryens, and the fact that like Darren is like, yeah, he's gonna go crazy if you don't take him and do something. That's kind of the convincing factor. But you do get that line of like, it's there. Like whether he'll go that way or won't, like it is really up to like, obviously Duncan Egg's story. But the fact that like you can see all parts of those turning and how little things can change to where we know him as this good king, one of the good ones, but how fast it could have been like he's not, he's just another Aryan, and we have a completely different story in the future.
Yeah, I think the show did a pretty good job of like I said, giving all the Targaryens a big personality and not just say, "Oh, this one's the Mad King." All the rest of them are kind of crazy. Everyone is has a complexity to them. Like Makar, which I didn't expect to see sitting in the chair to stop Egg
Yeah.
from killing the brother. He was there watching because he probably knew that something like that was going to happen. And like I said, the white hair coming up there, that was nice little symbolism right there. It's just nice to see that every single one of them has a personality. Because when they said Targaryen, I just lumped them in like that because in Game of
Mhm.
Thrones, every character in the whole series that mentions Targaryen is like, oh, they gotta die because every single one is just trash and they want to kill everything. And I was like, wow, that's that all a character. And then we saw Daenerys in the last season. It's like, well, she succumbed to her craziness and just blew up the whole city. I
Yeah,
said, so
they
all of
didn't
them.
flesh out that too well, but I mean, it's just kind of like it goes to the science of nature versus nurture, and it's like we've known the Targaryens to all be crazy. Obviously, the Mad King. You've seen House of Dragon. I haven't yet. I gotta catch back back up with it, but yeah, it's just the fact that it's more so they're not crazy. They're just put in this crazy environment where one, they have to remain in control because we have these other
Mhm.
families out there, so they can't raise a king to be weak or whatever, or they're going to lose it. Obviously, when they do when Robert Baratheon takes over Willow in Game of Thrones. So when they lose the kingdom, so and I think Egg is a big part of that. Is like because, or actually, too, I think I read somewhere talk about Baylor. If Baylor hadn't have died and it still was able to become a stronger king, they probably would have held on longer to where Robert Baratheon takes over. So yeah, that's definitely a little part of that. But you see, like they think you have to be crazy and controlling to kind of keep reign of the kingdom, and if you're not, then we'll lose control of that. And that's just breeding all these kids and, obviously ancestors who are crazy and for no good. So it's going to be funny to see the contrast between that and Egg. And I thought that was a cool part of showing, yeah, he could be crazy, but thanks to Dunk, he won't be.
I can see him little doing a time skip with Aegon when Aegon's about to become king. So I'm not sure how long this series is going to be. Hopefully, it's not more than like 4 or 5 seasons.
No, I think it's supposed to be. When I was looking at it, I think they're trying to do like a ton of
Oh my
seasons.
goodness.
Like,
Well, I mean, this Game of Thrones that has a name, so I guess you can do it as long as you
yeah.
feel like
And if you're doing like little segments, I don't mind that because what 15 seasons, let's say I'm still number out there, 15 seasons of 6 episodes in a panel of short stories is 7 seasons of these 12, 10 episode things. So I wouldn't necessarily mind that. And it does give Egg time to actually grow up and you see him become a teenager and maybe you'll see him as an older king way later on to replace the actors, but allow him to play Egg throughout this series and kind of grow with it. So I mean, I think that would be cool. And I wouldn't mind that as long as it's short. Like, and that's the thing. Like 12, 10 episodes, and we've done these series. Like they take a lot out of you to watch and get
yeah.
through. There's so much content to go through and put so much into it. Like in a panel of short stories where this is only one event at a village, 6 episodes. And we got a lot out of that. I mean, there's so much in this episode of little moments, but I feel pretty satisfied as if I would if this was 10 episodes. It just felt fast because it's only 6, but you felt like you got 10 episodes of content or 8 episodes, 9 episodes of content out of these 6 episodes because they did it so well. Like you said, this is only like 30 minutes. Like I'm waiting, like, when's the shoe gonna drop? Like, what's next gonna happen? It's like, oh, episode's over. That didn't take long at all. So I love it that they put a lot into it, but they're also making it watchable for the average fan who doesn't have an hour a night to spend trying to get this done. Especially us balancing other shows as well.
Yeah, I like this so much that like it was so short that when episode ended, I was like, damn, I gotta wait till next Sunday to watch the next one. They're gonna leave me on this cliff. Like when he was gathering all the knights, every episode I was like, oh man, I'm waiting so long to see all the knights gather and have the nice Optimus Prime speech before they go into battle. We didn't really get Optimus Prime speech. We just got immediate beat down of Duncan. Like Duncan is durable. So I wonder how often we're going to see him get beat down next season and season after that. I wonder how much he's going to progress. Who's going to teach him to be a little bit better?
Yeah, I'm funny who's actually going to train him, and if it actually will come out that he's not even a knight, like he's
Yeah,
still not a knight. No one just knows. So will they roll with that, or I don't know? Because secrets and shows they eventually will be revealed. Like you can never hold on to a secret. It's always somehow, some way, though nobody knows. It always comes out. But
yeah,
yeah, that'll be interesting. But yeah, I do like tying this up. One that you talked about earlier, like Egg sneaks away, so there'll be something with Maker may be looking for him or sending people after them and fighting golf. That in fact, Dunk doesn't even know, and he's just convinced that he said cool, and it's not even his fault. And then obviously, like how it will transition from him being out, going on these adventures and making him king. So I think it's set up, and obviously also to the tenet of like there's actually 9 kingdoms instead of 7, but he thinks there's 7, and the show is not going to change its name to 9 kingdoms. So it's kind of funny how they're going to play on that. But I mean, also too, I got to talk about this moment because it was so funny. The moment with Raymond and obviously the redhead girl, I forget her name, but that he's like, yeah, like we're having a kid. It's like I just got together yesterday.
Yeah. That I hope I see him again. That was one of my favorite characters of the season. Like he's the gullible guy that hasn't had much experience that is finally on his own. Everybody had a pretty good amount of character development in the show, and I'm glad also to Duncan again him being noble. I'm glad he didn't kill Arya right there, even though he could have. He was getting outboxed, outplayed, out everything. He's like, you know what? But I have one thing you don't have. I can take a beat down of 10 men and get up before I die and win. I like that too.
And like you said, is that going to be something? Is that? I guess you'd call it plot armor, but is he going to have that plot armor throughout? Because I think he survives through everything. I don't even. You've read it, so I don't know. I don't even think he dies in the fire. I think Egg just does way later on.
I'm not done all the way, but just as a spoiler that I saw when I was looking up the book before I got it, it says they both die in a fire towards the end. So.
All right, well, maybe he does. I guess we'll see.
But I'm not there yet. So I mean, I just used Google to find the book, and that was in the description somehow as a spoiler. So
because when they had the fortune teller lady who was talking about it, and she was like, a dragon will fall on you, which Egg is trying to. He reason he dies because he's trying to bring back the dragons, obviously, so they keep their reign. But like the fact that he said a dragon will fall on you and you'll survive is like, well, there ain't no dragons around. And when Egg is trying to bring him back, there's not no dragons around. So he may outlive all of them, and that may come later. And obviously, Egg is going to die in the fire, which he said that. So it's not really spoilers. He already said in the show. So yeah, we'll see where it goes. But yeah, I think again, their setup has been good, and you got a lot of great little moments. And one thing we don't really talk about with these shows is like this a ton of rewatch value. You can go and knock this out a couple nights and get ready for the next season. So, like Game of Thrones, it's impossible to watch Game of Thrones again. No one has time to get through that. Like, and you say you watch Game of Thrones back, and you're forgetting they stacked so much in there. You're like, man, I forgot a ton of this happened. If you rewatch it, of course that's going to happen. Yeah. But here, you can do this a couple nights.
I'm on season 4 of Game of Thrones right now towards the end when Tyrion's about to go on trial. And it was like several things. I was like, how did I forget about this stuff that happened? So it's almost like watching a brand new show again. Yeah. That's a terribly long show, but it's it still holds up. Now, were there any cons of this season that you had?
Not in particular. I mean, there is characters I want to see more, I guess necessarily. Like it's just like the girl that obviously Dunk had the love relationship with. There was no wrap up with her. So maybe because they played it out like. So I definitely want to see where that story goes because he talked about going to Dorne. He was going to say, let's go to Dorne because that's where the girl is from. But obviously, like Ed cut him off and let him know there's 9 kingdoms. So maybe wrap up with the redhead knight. Obviously, we didn't get much about him. I would love to see like more of him, but really, there's not. I mean, this moves with such good pacing. There's not a lot of complaint about it. I think the biggest complaint is like it's 6 episodes, man. I want to see more. Like I want to get more content, but. I think there's just like time was short, and that was probably it. There's not really much to complain about. It moves so fast, and I think you get so much out of it. This is like a home run season for me. Like I don't have any complaints. I'm giving a rating. Like definitely, I will watch this again. I might watch it again like later in the week as soon as we get past the Scream, phase that we're working on. I'll probably watch it again because there's just so much good content here in such a short amount of time. So it's a home run show for me. I don't have any. Real complaints. I think this is just storylines that cut short because only 6 episodes.
But yeah, I don't have any cons either. It's a home run show for me. I liked everything about the show, and then I'm happy. I was hoping they weren't going to do this one season. I'm happy they're going to keep going. So we'll just see what happens. So it's a home run for both of us. We both love the show, which is very rare for us. We've like 3 shows in the last 2 years we thought were home runs.
As far as the show, I mean, we just had a lot down the stretch that at the end they kind of fell off and haven't
Yeah.
ended. I mean, we do everyone almost. We're like, man, I love the show. I don't like that ending. So this is one of the
Yeah.
ones where I'm like, that is a good wrap up. I mentioned hop on Twitter, see what people are saying about it, or TikTok, but. I don't have much complaints here. I don't think there's much complaint about it. Anybody who would complain, invite us. Let's hop on a live or something with you. I want to see what you have to complain about because it's just like, again, want to see more with some characters, but in a short span of if they can make it that compelling just with a little night event, like when big events start to unfold, what can they do with them? And again, there are so many seasons planned to this. Is it a good thing or a bad thing that they have so much planned? I don't know, because sometimes it gets too crazy. Sometimes they do a little too much. But from what you've given us, if you're gonna go with that formula, I'm down for it. So yeah, I don't got much to say. I think it's been good, and it's probably the best show. Well, at least solidly best show I've seen this year.
Yeah. So that's it for us. We both think it's an amazing show. 10 out of 10. Flyknit. If they can't find us here, where can they find us?
Yeah, we're all over the place. MLF Shorts, both on Instagram, TikTok, here on YouTube. Coronal Comics is on TikTok, and is it Coronal Comics here on YouTube as well?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, both on here on YouTube as well. Everything's down in the bio, so you find there also along with our personal pages. But yeah, like that video, comment down below. Let us know what you thought of the show. Who are your favorite characters? Who you liked, who you didn't like, and what more do you want to see with the upcoming seasons? And don't forget to hit that sub button and that bell so you know we go live. We got a ton of stuff coming, and it's a big week for Scream, which both series we are big fans of. So we got a lot coming out for that, and we'll talk more about the show as things come out.